Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Bill.
Welcome to the Roofing Channel. Today we're going to be talking about what materials bad roofers leave off a roof. Let's get to it. All right, Bill, so what materials do bad roofers leave off a roof?
So the most common one that we see is they've left drip edge off. It's not that hard to put on. It takes a little time, costs a little money. A lot of roofers don't even think you need drip edge, or it didn't become a code until 2012. So that's the most common thing that we see. Replacement decking. They'll leave that off because if they don't bring decking with them, one guy has to stop, go pick up 2 sheets, come back, and rather than just replace the decking, they'll go over it with metal or just put shingles over the bad decking. So that's another one of the things. Step flashing. Roofers will leave step flashing off. They will either put a long strip of metal, which doesn't work, and there are reasons why they call it step flashing. It's created so the water rolls from one piece down to the next one, down to the next one. And when you put a long piece in there, it's real easy for the water to go sideways and back before it travels all of that distance down, and that cannot happen with step flashing. Chimney flashing, not all chimneys get reflashed when we re-roof the house. If they've had a problem with the chimney in the last 5 years and a company came out and did a fantastic job on the chimney flashing, why would you go to the expense to replace it? Reuse the existing. Just be really careful when you're tearing the roof off not to damage it. And it's common to reuse step flashing or chimney flashing. If it's going to be replaced, it should be specified on the proposal. If it's not specified on the proposal, more than likely, regardless of the shape of it or the condition that it's in, it's not going to be replaced. Some folks have copper flashing on their chimney that's going to last forever, and if they did a fantastic job, then we just take extra care around that chimney to make sure that that copper flashing is preserved so it can be used with the roof that we're installing. Ice and water shield is a component that we use in our valleys. We also use it around all penetrations. That way, if a penetration, a boot fails, then you've got ice and water shield under it, which is going to divert the water onto the shingles that are below it. The ice and water shield in the valleys is in case snow, ice, debris, anything builds up in the valleys. If leaves build up in the valleys, it's going to keep that material wet, and eventually it's going to, if it's not an impermeable barrier like ice and water shield under it, it's going to eventually rot the decking and even the framing out underneath it. And I've seen that happen. So that's why every valley gets ice and water shield. Every penetration gets ice and water shield around it. It's an impermeable barrier, and it eliminates that phone call after it's been raining for 3 days, or let's say an ice storm hits. Another corner that a roofer will cut when they're trying to keep their pricing down real low is they'll cut up the old 3-tab style shingles for ridge capping instead of buying the manufacturer's accessory ridge capping for dimensional shingles. All manufacturers have a specific ridge capping to go with each shingle that they make. Now, if it's a 3-tab roof, sure, cut up 3-tab shingles, but if you're using dimensional or luxury shingles, then you definitely are going to want it specified on your proposal as to exactly what type of ridge capping that they're going to be using. We see roofs, we'll go out as advisors, it's real easy to tell when the previous roofer reused the boots that were on the plumbing pipes. Used to, they were made of neoprene and they lasted maybe 10 years. UV would break down the neoprene. Now they're made out of a silicone rubber and they're going to last a little bit longer, but most roofers don't know how to read the codes on these 3 little time and date stamps and what shift they were made. So you can look at a pipe boot and tell when it was manufactured, and a lot of times you can tell where it was manufactured way before this roof was put on, especially when we're doing storm damage and roofs are 5 or 8 years old and you look at a boot and it's 15 years old. It's a corner that they cut to save maybe $12 on replacing a boot. So that's another thing that they're going to do to cut corners. We have even torn roofs off where the shingles were nailed directly to the plywood. No underlayment, no felt, no synthetic underlayment, no ice and water shield, nothing. More than likely the customer was either out of town or at work, or it might be a farmhouse. Nobody's watching this roof being put on. It's not inspected by codes or anyone else, so nobody's watching. Price was cheap. Why would you take the time and money to install underlayment? Let's just put the shingles on top of the plywood. And that right there would be the biggest no-no of all, because that voids warranty, it's against codes, everything. The many years I've been in construction, I have never nailed a shingle on raw plywood, nor ever will I. Thanks again for watching the Roofing Channel. I'm Bill Reagan with Bill Reagan Roofing Company.
If you liked what you saw here, don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to leave any comments from questions that you want answered during one of these sit-downs that we have. Thanks again for watching.
We'll catch you on the next one.